Hi. I just want to tell you a story about something you might have been seeing me play. Some of my other videos. This is it's a singing bowl, um, and the way it works is that you basically tap on it, and then you rub the mallet around the edge, and it makes this beautiful sound that is very good for meditation. And um, I like to think of it as kind of my tuning instrument for when I want to sit and think about something. It kind of gets my mind on an even keel, and I can harmonize with whatever it is that I'm intending to do. Um, the story about this is that last year I was having a really hard time living by myself, and I won't go into the details, but basically I was subjected to what's called an energy attack. At least that's how I interpret it. Basically, somebody kind of hacked into my mind and was manipulating my thoughts. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but basically, I was scared to be alone, and I had never lived by myself, and I didn't feel safe in my own apartment. I felt like these really negative energies were coming into my apartment and affecting me, and I didn't know what to do about that. And I sent out kind of a distress signal, and I had a friend respond to me and let me know some things that I could do to protect myself from these energy attacks that I, at the time, had no idea they even existed. But just because you don't know something exists doesn't mean it's not there. So I'd spent about a week just being terrified of being in my apartment by myself and not able to sleep. And so these little tricks that my friend had told me about really helped. And after my first really good night's sleep, I woke up and I went down to Laguna Beach with one of my friends, and I told her everything that was going on. And so we spent the day together and was trying to kind of calm me down because I was just so distraught and didn't really know how to handle myself. I'd never experienced anything like that before, and I felt very vulnerable having just left my husband and living by myself for the first time. So basically, I had been thinking to myself that I wanted to get a singing bowl. And so when I went into this place called the Chakra Shack, I found this singing bowl. And about a week prior, I had done my first Reiki session. I'd never had Reiki before. And it was the most amazing experience, which I can save for another time because that in itself was an amazing experience. But the one thing that I remember was she was playing something, and I didn't know what it was at the time, and it sounded like angels singing to me. And I didn't really ask her what it was and didn't really think about it too much. And then when I'd known what singing bowls were. I had seen like the metal ones, they almost look like brass. The singing bowls, like the Tibetan singing bowls that are common, but I'd never seen a crystal one. And so when I went into the Chakra Shack thinking I wanted to buy a singing bowl, this is what I found. And it was a smaller version of what the woman that did the Reiki on me used. And I played it, and it was like I was back there in that room having this breakthrough moment with the Reiki session that I did. And I was like, I have to get this. And just an interesting story about how I was able to buy it. Like a year before that, when I was still with my husband, a friend of mine was having some problems, and so I donated some money to him. And then after I left my husband, I was by myself, and I didn't really have a whole lot of money for myself. And some weird thing happened where I ended up getting the exact same amount that I had given this guy. I got it back. And it came right at this moment when I was having this really hard time, and I was like, oh, this seems like a sign for me to go out and do something nice for myself. So I went out, and I was able to get this singing bowl, and this selenite crystal. So my intentions on that day when I went down to the beach to hang out with my friend was to get some kind of singing bowl, because it was just such a powerful thing in the Reiki session, and also to get a crystal for my house, just something to kind of ease the energy and purify the energy. And I had this concept of angelic energy that I wanted, and I found this singing bowl that was making these angelic singing sounds. At least that's what I interpreted it as. And so I wanted to get what was commonly seemed to be like a good crystal, a good conduit of energy, which is clear quartz, which a lot of people have, but they're very, very expensive. And anyway, so in Laguna Beach there's this crystal shop. They have like giant crystals, and so my friend and I, we went into this crystal shop, and we went into the giant crystal room, and as soon as I walked into this room with all these big crystals, I felt this like immense light. I felt like it was just shining down right here. And I had that similar feeling when I was doing Reiki. It was very powerful. And so I walked in, I was like, I could just feel the energy in this room. It was intense in a good way. And I looked over and I saw this beautiful giant quartz crystal in the corner of the room. And so I went and I asked the lady how much it was, and she was like, oh, it's $5,000. And I was like, oh, I was a little bummed. And I told her, my intentions. I was like, I'm having a little bit of a hard time. I was recently subject to an energy attack. I'm trying to clear the air in my apartment, purify the energy. I want something that's, kind of angelic. She points to the crystal right next to the quartz that I hadn't even noticed, and it happened to be this, which to me just looks like some angelic castle. I mean, it's just, you can see it. It's pretty heavy and big, but it looks like some, gold or a white, pure tower of bliss. Anyways, so she told me about it, and she said it was selenite. I'd never heard of it before. And she got out this crystal Bible and read me the description of it, and it happens to say that it is a channel of angelic energy. And I just thought, oh, how perfect. Kind of feeling like, oh, I have a guardian angel. And so I said, okay, that's it, I'm going to buy it. And it wasn't that much. And actually, the amount of this crystal plus the singing bowl together was the amount of what I had just received. So it was just perfect. It was like fate had stepped in, or my guardian angel had come and given me exactly what I needed at the moment. And so when I went up to the counter to buy the crystal, the guy that works at the shop came over, and he was like, oh, you're buying that? It had just come into the store like an hour before I walked in there. And it was funny because my friend and I, we had been doing a bunch of stuff, and we had talked about going to the crystal shop earlier in the day, and we kind of put it off. We went and got some sushi, we went and got some ice cream, we went and sat on the beach and looked at the waves and rubbed our toes in the sand, and then we decided to go to the crystal shop. And it's amazing, because if we had gone when we originally said we were, the crystal wouldn't have even been in the store yet, and I wouldn't have been able to get it. But it was there waiting for me. It was like almost like it was calling to me. And now I have it in my home. I keep it on my altar. It sits in the corner of my apartment, and ever since then I felt completely safe. It transformed my apartment into the sacred space that it is now, and has allowed me to start to grow and become more independent. And just these two things I'm very, very grateful for. And it just came at the perfect time with all the circumstances. It was a beautiful series of moments that came right when I needed them. And that's the story of my crystal and my singing bowl. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful, beautiful, amazing day.